Taking it from where Arun was left off, he mentioned about recommendations in the Royal Commission where it is not just about criticising the police, and I understand that some of these recommendations were in fact implemented. But these one recommendations on IPCMC was strongly objected by the police. And from what we hear, they say it's not fair. We are not the only enforcement agencies in the country. Why is it that you are putting the spotlight on us? So therefore, we do not want IPCMC. So are these objections justified?
That's your question. I mean, for me, actually, nobody, no agency should object to scrutiny. A responsible police force or police chief, I'm not blaming the officers, a responsible leadership of the police would say, I have no problem. By all means, shine the light on us. That's what a responsible police force would do, because they should want to be the best police force. They should want to ensure that they have no, police who are infringing the law. They should want a police force that is completely accountable and above board. So if we have a leadership in the police force who believe in those principles, there should be no problem. You don't say, oh, it's like, a teacher scolds one pupil and the pupil says, why you didn't scold all the others? That's ridiculous. If you did something wrong, you take the punishment. So for me, that's one point. But more importantly is that the police force is different from any other enforcement agency in many ways. I know some other enforcement agencies are armed. I'm not saying that they're not. But the police of all of them have the most power to deal with the ordinary man on the street, the ordinary citizen. And when you look at the unequal, relationship between a policeman and an accused person, and then you say it doesn't matter what the policeman does, that cannot be right. So given the fact that they have such overwhelming power over ordinary Malaysians on a daily basis. I mean, of all enforcement agency, the enforcement agency we see every day, day in, day out, is the police. And they are in a position of power. There's no doubt about that. In that case, I do not think that their objections to an IPCMC are justified. But for me, we have to have political will to do it. Whether the police object or not, my quarrel is with our political leadership. They don't have the guts to do it. Because they're the ones who have to set the standard, they're the ones who have to make the rules, they are the ones ultimately, through Parliament, who will have to bring the IPCMC into being. So you can't criticize the police and other enforcement agencies for saying don't do that, don't do that. It's not up to them. It's up to the political leadership. So my quarrel really is more with them. As far as I'm concerned, what the IPCMC is necessary as long as as long as we continue to have abuse of power, as long as we continue to have deaths in custody, as long as we continue to have other forms of police brutality. That is continuing. That's the only question we need to ask ourselves. Does this still happen in Malaysia? The answer is yes. If that happens, then we need the IPCMC. It's as simple as that. Now, what I would say is that this is really not about good cops. The IPCMC is not about good cops, and we have a lot of good cops. It's about errant cops. I know, just to say, revisit the Arul, Anthony and myself when we were arrested. Because I fought so hard, by the way, I didn't go to Jinjang, so I was kept at the police station while Arul and Anthony went off, and then I saw them the next morning doing their Hobbit impression. No slippers, That's part of the humiliation process, by the way. But they don't humiliate easily. See, I don't know why they do it to people like Arul. They can't be bothered. You're wasting your time. So anyway,
good PR. Then.
Yeah, that's right. So for me, actually, it's about having a credible police force. And it's about the rakyat not being afraid of the police. Okay, we shouldn't fear the police when we are not doing anything wrong. Unfortunately now, even for speaking, people are frightened. Because they're so quick to arrest, so quick to do something, and they're so quick to make your life so difficult. I mean, is it necessary for us to live in that kind of fear? I don't think we deserve it. Malaysians don't deserve to live like this, you know, and I think they really need to, they keep talking about ourselves as a democracy, they really need to go and look up that definition. I actually think they've all forgotten what it means to have a democratic process, to have accountability, not to have abuse of power. And if you have abuse of power in enforcement agencies, particularly that carry arms, then that is really something that we need to look at very seriously. Thank you.